Hello and welcome to the Guerilla Science Space Yoga series. My name is Gemma, and during these videos we'll be exploring the effects of space travel on the human body and mind through the practice of yoga. So if you're ready, let's take our bodies on a journey into space. The topic of this video is the spine. The spine is made up of 33 interlocking bones called vertebrae, which are separated by discs of cartilage that allow the spine to move. Running down the centre of the spine is the spinal cord, the main pathway of the central nervous system that connects your brain to the rest of the body. The spine also has 3 natural curves that allow it to effectively support your weight in Earth's gravity. In very low gravity environments, the spine actually gets longer, as the spaces between the vertebrae increase and the curves begin to flatten out. Astronaut Scott Kelly, after spending a year on the International Space Station, was 5 centimetres taller than his Earth-bound identical twin. While it may not sound like a bad thing to get a little taller, the spinal elongation that astronauts experience can actually cause a lot of problems. 70% of astronauts suffer from discomfort during their first few days in space, and around half experience severe back pain when they return to Earth's gravity. This shows us how important the natural curves of the spine are for its healthy functioning. So today we will be focusing on lengthening the spine against Earth's gravity, strengthening the muscles which support the spine, and maintaining good spinal mobility. Let's come up to standing. So come to the end of your mat in mountain pose with the big toes together and the heels slightly apart. Bring your body weight back over your heels, engage your quadriceps, draw the belly in and up, lift the chest, and roll the shoulders down and back, extending the fingertips down towards the floor. If you have a long mirror, you can check your postural alignment side on, so your heels, hips, shoulders, and ear should all be in one line. And you'll also be able to see the spine's natural curves. It goes in at the lower back, out at the upper back, and in again at the neck. So we can just explore these curves a little bit here. If you bring your hands to your lower back or the lumbar spine, you'll feel that it goes slightly inwards. If you tilt your pelvis forwards and send the tailbone up, you can see that you deepen the lumbar curve. And if you tuck your tailbone underneath and tilt the pelvis back, you flatten the curve. The upper back or thoracic spine goes slightly outwards, and this is connected to the rib cage. If you drop your shoulders forward and your breastbone down, you deepen that curve. And if you lift your breastbone up and flare your ribs, you flatten the curve. The neck or cervical spine goes naturally slightly inwards and is connected to the head. So if you bring your chin up towards space, you deepen that curve. And if you drop your chin down towards the chest, you flatten the curve. So let's re-find a good mountain pose here. Restack the hips over the heels, make sure that the pelvis is level, chest lifted, and the chin parallel to the floor. Keeping the curves of the spine in a natural position. And then we're going to take the arms up overhead, maintaining that alignment, and really lengthen up through to the fingertips. Keep your belly drawing in and up, chest lifted, and really extend as much as you can with your arms. Imagine that you're hanging from the ceiling. How long would your spine be? So it may be to really stretch up this much, you've slightly flattened some of the natural curves of the spine. But as you can feel, to do this in Earth's gravity, we have to work really hard. In the microgravity of space, this happens to astronauts automatically. So their spines get longer at the same time as the muscles weaken and the curves flatten out. And this can cause real problems when they return to Earth's gravity. Scientists investigate the effects of this spinal elongation through extended bed rest studies, where they confine participants to bed for 60 days to see what microgravity does to the spine. So lift up a little bit more, and then keeping that length in the spine, just bring your arms back down to the sides. Return to mountain pose, inhale, lifting up through the chest, and exhale, drawing the shoulders down and back. Now bring your hands to your hips and step your left foot back behind you for Warrior One. So keeping the right foot straight and the left foot at 45 degrees, with your hands on your hips, try to square your hips with the front end of the mat. So drawing the right hip back and the left hip forward, remembering that what you do with your pelvis affects the lower back. Squeeze the inner thighs together, drawing the belly in and up. Lift the chest and take the arms up overhead, lengthening up towards space. Ground down through the back heel really firmly and then bend your right knee. Coming to Warrior One. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit more here, you can bring the gaze gently up, or you can keep your head in a neutral position. So in this posture, it can be easy to compress the lumbar spine or the lower back. To work against this, send the tailbone down to really lengthen the lower back, and you can visualize here the discs between the vertebrae decompressing, really lifting up through the arms, bending that front knee a little bit more. Then bring your gaze back to neutral, straighten your right leg, bring your arms back down and step your left foot forward. Take a moment here and then step your right foot back, left foot straight, right foot at 45 degrees, and with your hands on your hips, square your hips with the front of the mat. So bringing now the right hip forward and the left hip back. Really push the right heel down, take the arms up overhead, lengthen up out of the waist, and bend now your left knee. Keep the belly drawing in and up, chest lifted, and if you wish you can bring your gaze slightly upwards. So when we take the arms above the head like this, we access the upper back, and so you can really reach up, lengthening the whole torso, and visualize here the vertebrae between the upper back, the vertebrae in the upper back decompressing, lengthening the tailbone down, and keep the breath flowing. Bend that front knee a little bit more if you can, and then bring your gaze to neutral, straighten your left leg, bring your arms down, and step your feet back to mountain pose. Spread your toes, body weight back, chest lifted, roll the shoulders down and back. Okay, so step your feet to a hip distance with the feet in parallel, body weight back, kneecaps lifted, belly in and up, chest lifted, and draw the elbows back behind you. Inhale, lifting up out of the waist, and exhale, come forwards to a half forward bend, only coming down so far as you can without rounding through the lower back. So not like this, but like this. If your hamstrings are very tight, you may not be able to come down so far, that's fine. Just focus on maintaining the natural curves of the lower back. Drawing the belly in towards the spine, drawing the breastbone forwards and the elbows back, turning the tailbone up towards space. In the microgravity of space, the muscles which support the spine have less load to bear and they start to waste away. In a posture like this, we're using the muscles of the spine to support the weight of the torso, so it's great for strengthening those muscles. If you take your arms up in line with your ears like this, you can feel how you increase the load on the back and the muscles have to work even harder. Draw the belly in, keep the chest lifted, extending through to the fingertips, and then bend your knees and come all the way down. So bend your knees a lot here if you need to, so that you can lay the stomach on the thighs and the chest on the knees, relaxing the crown of the head down towards the earth. And just take a couple of breaths here. So when we're in an inverted position like this, we change the way that gravity is working on the spine. So it's now lengthening the spine down towards the earth. And you can visualize here the spine getting longer and the discs decompressing. So you can just focus on lengthening your exhale as you just turn the tailbone up towards space and allow the crown of the head to draw down towards the floor. And then bend your knees even more, bring your gaze forwards, plant your hands and step your feet back into a long downward dog position. You can keep your knees bent and your heels up, and again focus on turning the tailbone up towards space, trying to maintain that lumbar curve and not round through the lower back. Relax your head, take a couple of breaths here, and then you can drop your knees and come to an all fours position. So take a moment just to find a good strong position here with your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears, keep your head in line, and draw your lower abdomen up towards the spine. We can see the importance of the lumbar curve for supporting our weight when we think about the fact that four-legged animals do not actually have a lumbar curve. This evolved as our ancestors began to stand upright, and the spinal muscles had to support the weight of the torso in a vertical position. When we have the spine in a horizontal position like this, gravity is working on it in a different way, so it's safe to really explore the full range of motion of our spines. So starting with the tailbone, you're going to draw the belly in towards the spine, start to send the tailbone down towards the earth, rounding through the lower back, continuing that movement through into the upper back, rounding the shoulders, and finally bringing the crown of the head down towards the earth. Take a couple of breaths here, really rounding through the whole spine. And then again, starting the movement with the tailbone, drawing the belly in, start to turn your tailbone up towards space, arching the lower back, continuing through the upper back, and finally bring your gaze forwards, arching the whole spine. Now go through these two motions in your own time, coming to a fully rounded position, and then again to a fully arched position. And as you make the movements, really trying to articulate through the spine, finding a full range of motion. As an astronaut, it's really important to have a good range of motion in the spine, because as the spine gets longer and the curves begin to flatten out, they also lose range of motion. So what we're doing here is really good for maintaining a good spinal mobility. So just finishing that movement wherever you are and coming back to a neutral position. And then just drop your hips back towards your heels, bring your knees together and rest in child's pose. Take a few breaths here, really breathing into the back of the body. It's also really important to strengthen the muscles which support the spine to prepare your body for a microgravity environment. So next we'll be doing a couple of postures which do just that. So drawing the belly in, start to restack your spine, rolling up through the lower back, middle back, neck and head, and then come down to earth, laying on your front on the mat. Begin with your feet hip distance, tops of the feet pushing into the floor, with the hands underneath the shoulders, drawing the elbows back towards the rib cage. Engage your quadriceps so your kneecaps pop up off the floor and send the tailbone down towards earth. Draw your belly in, take a breath in, and then just roll up through the upper back, coming to Cobra Pose. Squeeze your elbows in, draw the shoulders down, and keep the legs really, really active. So we're using the muscles of the back here to lift up the head and chest, not using the hands. So there shouldn't be too much weight going through your hands. Keep the breath flowing, little sips of air in the back bend, lifting up a little bit more. And then slowly come down and turn your head to the right. Relax your arms and relax your legs, breathing into the back of the body. Yoga postures like the one that we've just done are really great for strengthening the muscles which support the spine and maintaining good spinal mobility. Next we'll do Locust Pose. So bring your chin forward, bring your legs together, pointing your toes, engaging through your kneecaps. Stretch your arms out towards the side with the palms facing down. Draw the belly in, take an inhale, and lift everything up off the floor. Keep the head in a neutral position, so gazing in front of you, and keep the legs straight, pointed toes extending through to the fingertips, using the muscles of the back of the body to lift the legs and the chest. Keep the breath flowing in and out, don't hold your breath. Lift the legs up a little bit more, and the chest up a little bit more. And slowly come down, this time turning your head to the left. Relax your arms, palms facing up, and relax the legs. Again, breathing into the back of the body. The spinal elongation that astronauts experience wears off after just a few days back in Earth's gravity, and the muscles which support their spine are no longer strong enough to bear their body's weight. Doing back-bending yoga postures like this can really help to prevent and reduce back pain. Now we're going to bring the chin forwards, hands underneath the shoulders, push yourself up and back, and this time come with the big toes together and the knees wide, and then use the hands to lengthen the spine forwards. Stretching out after we've done those backward bends. And then drawing the belly in, walking your hands back. And let's come over onto our backs for Savasana. So begin with the feet flat on the floor, lowering yourself down. Lengthen the lower back towards the hips and lift the chest and draw the shoulder blades down underneath your heart. Allow the hands to come a little bit away from the body with the palms facing up, and then just lengthen one leg and the other leg along the mat, allowing the feet to fall out towards the sides, and then close your eyes. You can bring your awareness now to the toes, feet and ankles, and to the shins, knees, the thighs. Bring your awareness to the hips, and then to the lower back, middle back and upper back. Bring your awareness to your abdomen, navel and chest, and to the shoulders, arms, wrists and hands. And then bring your awareness into your neck and head, and relax all the muscles of the face. Feel your body sinking down, relaxing into the earth, supported. So in space, astronauts' spines get longer, but actually a similar thing happens to all of us overnight. Everyone is a couple of millimeters taller in the morning, because when we're laying down, gravity works on the spine in a different way. This allows the spaces between the vertebrae to decompress. So as we lay here, you can visualize this happening, the spine getting longer, the curves softening down into the earth. And then gradually start to bring the breath back to a more normal level. Start to move the toes and fingers, the feet, and the arms, and then slowly draw up one leg and the other leg. Roll over onto one side and use your arms to come back to a seated position. Okay, sitting up straight, bring your hands to the center of your chest, draw the shoulders down and back, close your eyes and bow your chin towards your chest. You can imagine the joy that astronauts must feel when they return to their home planet and get to breathe the fresh air of Earth's atmosphere instead of the recycled air in the space station. You're home. Take a moment to notice how you feel, to close the practice, and then raise your head and open your eyes. So today we've done some yoga postures that strengthen the spine, lengthen the spine against Earth's gravity, and maintain good spinal mobility. All things that are really important for space travel. I hope you feel a little bit taller. Join us next time when we'll be learning about what astronauts need to do to prepare their body for spacewalks.